My roommate has been taking showers in the middle of the night lately, making a lot of noise. I was absolutely miserable from the racket every day, so I asked for help online. Eventually, I took a netizen's advice. I put some fake blood handprints in the bathroom to scare her. Waiting until midnight, I heard the bathroom door open again. But there was no scream. Just as I walked to the bathroom door, the sound of scrubbing came from inside. Strange. I already cleaned it all up. My name is Lu Li. Lu Li as in bizarre and colorful. I'm an intern lawyer, living an 8 to 6 life every day. The 1-hour commute is my only time to catch my breath. But right now, even closing my eyes makes me irritable. Because of consecutive late nights, the new pimple by my nose hurts to the touch. Plus, the AC constantly makes my face red. I look completely burned out and miserable. Fortunately, I had a Mediheal Centella Asiatica mask in my bag. It uses a 198-hour low-temperature extraction process. The Centella extract has a purity of 98%. It can repair redness and dullness from staying up late. As soon as I put it on, it feels icy and cool, like a deep soothing treatment for the skin. The sheet mask is also very thin and fits perfectly. When I wake up and take off the mask, my face doesn't feel tight at all. My skin is full of moisture, as expected from the Mediheal Centella mask. Back in that rented room with terrible soundproofing, I still have to work endless overtime. My roommate, Chen Xing, works at a BBQ joint. She often doesn't get back until 2 a.m. Every time I finally finish working and lie down to get a bit sleepy, I'm jolted awake by the sound of her opening and closing the door. The soundproofing in this house is just too bad. Just by listening, I can map out her exact route. Opening the door, tossing her keys on the counter. Opening the shoe cabinet to change shoes, entering the room, turning on the lights, rummaging around. Finally, slamming the bathroom door shut. Then the sound of water running intermittently. Even if I cover my head, that noise drills straight into my ears. The more I want to sleep, the more annoyed I get. I feel like I'm having a nervous breakdown. I had talked to her about it countless times before, begging her to be a bit quieter. She just rolled her eyes. If you can't get used to it, just move out. Acting like a spoiled princess. Why even have a roommate? I want to move out too, but my intern salary is only $2,000. After Social Security deductions, I'm left with $500. With that little money, let alone rent, it's not even enough for food. If I were to move out now, the landlord definitely wouldn't refund the deposit, so I just had to endure it. I tossed and turned, without a shred of sleepiness, so I posted online for help. What to do if your roommate always showers in the middle of the night? One netizen commented, put some hand sanitizer in the bathroom and add some fake splattered blood. Guaranteed to work. I was immediately tempted. Chen Xing is a horror enthusiast. She loves scaring me from behind, completely ignoring whether I'm terrified to death. She also frequently uses fake wigs and severed finger props in my room to scare me. Every time, it made my heart pound wildly. I told her to stop doing that, but she didn't restrain herself at all. It's just a joke. Is it really a big deal? Fine, then I'll play a joke on you too. While Chen Xing was out, I bought fake blood props, put on rubber gloves, and pressed bloody handprints all over the bathroom tiles. I squeezed some more fake blood around them, watching it drip down the tiles. It was around 2 a.m. again. My heart was beating like a drum, without a bit of sleepiness. Suddenly, Chen Xing came back. It was the same familiar routine of noises. The moment she turned the bathroom doorknob, I held my breath, waiting to hear her scream. 1 second, 2 seconds. My heart pounded like a drum. But strangely enough, there were no screams from inside. Just the sounds of turning on the light and closing the door. Wasn't this enough to scare her? I tiptoed quietly to the bathroom door. I could vaguely see a dark figure squatting inside. Just then, the sound of water started. She was actually inside, scrubbing the wall vigorously. I was baffled. Why wasn't she rushing out to confront me? Amidst the sound of scrubbing, I vaguely heard her muttering. Strange. I clearly cleaned it all up. A chill ran up my spine. Shivering, I retreated to my room and locked the door tightly. My mind was filled with the words she just said. Could it be that before my prank, there was already blood in the bathroom? Suddenly, there was a knock on my door. Lu Li. I know you're not asleep. Chen Xing pounded heavily on the door outside, her tone very aggressive. You think this is funny? You think smearing some fake blood would scare me? Hearing her say this, I actually felt a bit relieved, thinking I must have misheard her earlier. Just when I thought she had left, she suddenly pressed herself against the door crack, shining a flashlight inside. Her voice hoarse, carrying a suppressed sort of excitement. You know, human blood doesn't smell like this, you know. I wanted to call the police, but I was afraid it was just a prank. I just forced myself to stay awake all night. As soon as day broke, I stuffed all my important belongings into my bag and ran all the way downstairs out of the building. Only then did I dare to stop and catch my breath. Between my deposit and my life, I felt my life was more important. I called the landlady to tell her I was moving out. In no time, she showed up carrying a huge bunch of keys, hurrying over anxiously. She started shouting the moment she saw me. Xiao Lu, everything's fine, why are you moving out? Your lease isn't up. I won't refund a single cent of your deposit. She stood in the sun trying to persuade me for a long time. I firmly insisted that the company was too far, and I had to move even without the deposit. Seeing I was determined, she finally relented with a bit of regret. Fine, anyway, I have properties in every district. I'll take you to see some this afternoon. To be fair, this landlady is usually quite nice. At least the rent is very low. If I hadn't been terrified last night, I really would be reluctant to leave. But the thought of going back to pack my luggage, I really didn't dare go inside alone. So I begged the landlady to go up with me. Though she found it strange, she readily agreed. While opening the door, I casually muttered, I wonder if Chen Xing is awake yet. Who did you say? The landlady froze. My roommate, Chen Xing. The landlady was so shocked her keys dropped to the floor. Her eyes darted around as she said, What nonsense are you talking about? Haven't you always lived alone? What roommate? Roommate? Now it was my turn to be dumbfounded. Stop joking. Look, her shoes are right here. I looked down at the shoe cabinet, only to find it full of my own shoes. The other half was completely empty. I was utterly confused. The landlady stood there, wiping sweat from her forehead. I told you, there's no one else. You must be confused from the heat, right? I didn't believe it. I scanned the room. No clothes on the balcony. No clutter in the living room. Chen Xing had vanished like she never existed. I wanted the landlady to go with me to check the bathroom and her room. But the landlady absolutely refused to step inside. I had to inch toward the bathroom alone. Edging to the door, I took a deep breath, grabbed the handle, and pushed it open forcefully. Inside were only my toiletries. The walls were spotlessly clean. All the fake blood handprints I pressed last night were gone. I froze at the door, my mind buzzing. This is impossible. I clearly smeared it on with my own hands. The landlady hid behind the door, poked her head out, and asked, "What exactly are you seeing?" Seeing her so scared that her face turned pale, barely able to catch her breath, I found it even more bizarre. I retreated to the living room and pushed open the door to the next room. The room was completely empty. Only a yellowed old mattress on the bed. Not a single trace of anyone having lived there. The landlady followed behind, muttering, "Look, hasn't this room always been empty? You must be confused from working too much overtime." My mind was a complete mess. But all those memories of us living together, I couldn't have just made them up, could I? I checked my phone and realized I had never even saved her number. Does that even make sense? I broke into a cold sweat, desperately trying to find excuses for myself. Is it because I'm too introverted? Plus, our schedules are exact opposites. We just mind our own business, which is why we never exchanged contact info. The landlady was losing patience and urged, "Are you renting or not? The locations you want to move to start at 1,000 at least. Mine is already cheap enough." My mind was in total chaos. Just then, a call from the law firm director came in like the Grim Reaper calling. The vibration made my palm numb. I could only brush off the landlady for now. "Let me take this call first." The landlady snorted coldly and left. As she brushed past me, besides her body odor, I actually caught a strong whiff of cheap barbecue smoke. Isn't that exactly the smell Chen Xing brings back from work every day? But I didn't have time to dwell on it. Director Zhou was on the phone, chewing me out fiercely. I apologized profusely while thinking about quitting. But thinking about the cost of the bar exam and my almost finished internship period, I had no way out. I called my family crying, but my parents said sitting in an AC office isn't tiring and scolded me for being useless. At that moment, I understood. I had absolutely no one backing me. I forced myself to calm down and started to review everything. If Chen Xing was terrified by the fake blood handprints and moved out overnight, then how could she still have the mind to say those scary things to me? What was even more abnormal was the landlady. Why did she firmly insist I had no roommate? And the smell of barbecue on her. Are they teaming up to trick me? What could be their purpose? I couldn't figure it out. I was thinking of just changing landlords, finding a new place to rent. But then I remembered. My advanced social security payment next month is over 8,000. The money in my pocket isn't enough to cover another security deposit. I have no choice but to stay here for now. The most urgent task is to protect myself first. I ordered a door chain lock online. While waiting for the delivery, I casually scrolled through my previous orders. I was completely dumbfounded. My own account, a few days ago at 3 or m, had purchased severed fingers and fake wig prank toys. Weren't these what Chen Xing used to scare me? How could I have bought them myself? The delivery note even said, "Don't call. Just leave it at the door. If you knock, you get a bad review." I stared at the screen, my whole body turning cold. I only ever use the smart parcel lockers, and I would never threaten a bad review. I began to doubt myself. Am I sleepwalking? Or because of the extreme pressure lately, am I becoming schizophrenic? I had neither the money nor the courage to go to the hospital. After weighing my options, I hired a technician to help install a security camera to see if I was really sleepwalking. But he couldn't come until tomorrow. Before bed, I jammed a piece of paper in my bedroom door crack and placed a cup of water by the door. If I opened the door unconsciously, I'd know when I woke up. I fell asleep shortly after getting into bed. While I was half asleep, a raspy, static sound suddenly echoed in my ear. "I heard you were looking for me. Want to hear a story?" I violently opened my eyes. Looking straight at a deadly pale face, I screamed, flailing my arms wildly. The next second, I realized I was just looking at the ceiling lamp. It was just a dream. I had woken up in a cold sweat. I planned to go to the bathroom for a shower, and absent-mindedly picked up the piece of paper by the door. But the moment I looked down, I completely froze on the spot. On the originally blank paper, there were now 2 lines of dark red words. "I heard you were looking for me. Want to hear a story?" The handwriting was jagged and broken, as if written with something sharp, dipped in blood. I touched my face. By the corner of my eye was a dried bloody scratch. Under my fingernails were full of blood crusts. It seems I really am sleepwalking. I even scratched my own face to write those words. The next day, the technician came to install the camera. When he came in, the old door made a loud, scraping noise. I embarrassedly explained that the door was a bit old. The technician casually touched the edge of the door and muttered, "That sound isn't right. Feels like something is stuck in it." From the gap in the door hinge, he picked at it, pulling out a long, thin little object. He said it's fine now that it's out. The door closed silently. I didn't think much of it and led him into the bedroom. Pointing to a spot next to the wardrobe, I asked, "Can we install it here? It can capture the door." He agreed, saying, "The angle is good." He put down his bag and walked around the room checking the angles. He also stared at the ceiling for a while, his gaze stopping on the ceiling lamp. Just as he stepped forward, right at that moment, rapid knocking sounded from outside the door. The landlady burst in, panting heavily. Before I could even ask her what was wrong, she stared at the tool bag and camera on the floor and raised her voice at me. "What do you think you're doing? Who said you could install a camera?" I just wanted to explain, but her face instantly changed. She adamantly refused to let it be installed, yelling, "Absolutely not. I have to rent this place to other people in the future. If you casually install cameras around, Who would dare live here? Young people nowadays, I don't know what you're thinking. You have money to install cameras, but no money to pay rent. Pestered endlessly by the landlady, I had no choice and had to give it up. I felt quite guilty about it. Making the technician make a wasted trip, I quickly apologized to him while walking him downstairs. Just as we reached the main gate, he suddenly leaned in close and lowered his voice. Little girl, move out. There is a pinhole camera in the ceiling lamp of your room. My mind completely blanked with a buzz. No wonder the moment I was about to install a camera, the landlady rushed over immediately. After going back up, I pretended to lie on my bed playing with my phone, secretly verifying the camera's position. Then I pretended to go downstairs to throw out the trash. As soon as I was out, I called the police. The police arrived very quickly. They removed a pinhole camera from my bedroom lamp and found another in the living room. What was even more terrifying was that in the bathroom tile crevices, they detected old traces of blood. The landlady was taken in for questioning. I also went to the station to give a statement. At first, she adamantly denied it. Later, hearing she could be implicated in a crime which would affect her son's civil service exams, she finally panicked. She changed her story, saying she didn't install the cameras. It was her mentally unstable niece, Lin Shi, who installed them. Lin Shi lived right next door in room 404. And the so-called Chen Xing was actually completely fabricated by Lin Shi. After I fell asleep, she would sneak into my room. She used my phone to place orders for prank props. She swapped my melatonin for sleeping pills and hallucinogens, just to make me lose my grip on reality, to make me think I was going crazy. As for the blood in the bathroom, the landlady said she had no idea where it came from, because it had been repeatedly washed with strong cleaner. DNA was hard to extract, requiring time for comparison. Later, I got my full deposit back and received some compensation. I rented a new two-bedroom apartment. Lin Shi was taken into custody for examination. I later heard from Officer Zhang, who handled the case, that she indeed had mental issues. She said she liked watching people slowly break down, doubting themselves. She liked seeing blood flow out, and then washing it all clean, as if purifying something. But the matter hadn't truly ended. Not long after I moved out, I found an old notebook inside. On the first page, written in dark red, were 2 lines. I heard you were looking for me. I found you. Want to hear a story? My story. This was Lin Shi's diary. The diary documented the birth of a madwoman. She was born into a family that heavily favored boys over girls to an extreme degree. After having a second child, her parents dumped her at her aunt's house. There, she met her cousin, Chen Xing. Chen Xing was sunny, pretty, and her grades were always top 3 in her grade. Teachers and classmates loved her. Even her uncle, who also favored boys, would show a rare smile when this daughter was mentioned. This intense jealousy grew wild like weeds. And so, in that bathroom, Lin Shi murdered Chen Xing with her own hands. From that day on, she became Chen Xing, and the landlady, who was her aunt, actually knew the truth all along. But she didn't call the police. Instead, she told everyone her daughter ran away with someone. Because the landlady also heavily favored boys, she felt that as long as it didn't delay her son's civil exams and didn't ruin the family's reputation, it was fine. What's more, Lin Shi's family paid the landlady a large sum of hush money, allowing them to support her son's grad school and buy a house. In the landlady's eyes, a dead daughter wasn't as important as a niece who brings money. At the end of the diary, Lin Shi wrote, "I am a madwoman. No one can do anything to me. Scum like you shouldn't even be alive. It doesn't matter where you move. I will find you sooner or later." And complete the final purification. After reading it, I stayed silent for a long time. I handed the diary over to Officer Zhang. With the new leads, the police finally managed to extract Chen Xing's DNA from deep within the tile crevices. The landlady was arrested for harboring a criminal. As she was taken away, she was still yelling, saying it was all for her son's future. But Lin Shi vanished into thin air, and her whereabouts remained unknown. One midnight, half a year later, there was a sudden knock on the door. I walked over and asked, "Who is it?" From outside, a deliberately lowered female voice said, "Delivery." I leaned in to look through the peephole. I only saw someone wearing a black baseball cap. I directly pulled the door open a crack. The person outside snatched off the hat, revealing a pale and familiar face. She broke into a creepy grin at me. "I found you." I looked as if I was terrified, backing away repeatedly. She suddenly squeezed through the door gap, pulling out a fruit knife, approaching step by step, the expression on her face getting more and more manic. Just as she was satisfyingly admiring my terrified expression, I suddenly pulled out a baseball bat from behind my back. I looked at her and slowly smiled. "Oh, I forgot to introduce. My new roommate is surnamed Zhang."